Live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying about to get underway. The first car rolls in just 1 minute. Cool start on the pole for Sunday's 19th running of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at this famed track. Let's go trackside to Vince Welch.
Well, if practice is any indication, this guy next to me is going to be one of those seriously contending for the pole. We were just talking a little weather. Here's some meteorology. You're part driver, part meteorologist. What's the difference in a good cloud coming over in the racetrack when you're out for a qualifying run?
Well, it doesn't take much of a weatherman to look up. You could sure feel it. You know, it's a warm day today. When the sun goes behind the clouds, it's instant, you know, a couple tenths of speed on the racetrack. So, and then the longer it stays behind the clouds, the track tempos, you know, continue to come down in temperature, which just increases the grip here. So this place real heat sensitive. And, you know, just hope you get a good cloud, or hope if you don't, nobody else gets one, you know, toward the end or something. So just, you know, I don't think the temperature is going to really be a factor. I think just the clouds.
We know you've got a fast race car. You proved that in practice. But how difficult is it to, as a driver, to hit it perfectly one lap for qualifying here where track position is so important on Sunday?
I think if any driver tells you got a perfect lap, he's lying to you, because you can always go back and say, oh, I could have got a little more here. I overdrove this, or I could have carried more speed. So you just try and do the best you can. It's very hard here because it's a big racetrack, and you're approaching these corners at such speed. So it's easy to make a little mistake that can cost you a lot.
Greg Biffle in the 16, been fast.
You were talking just minutes ago, DJ. It's a matter of inches.
It really, really is. And he's talking about that perfect lap. I remember 1996, I thought I had the perfect lap going. I was going to win the pole until I hit the wall coming off turn 4. That's why I say you can't relax as a driver, because, you know, it's just, I just needed a few more feet, and it could have been on the pole.
Critical spot on the track here at this moment on everyone's qualifying lap. We watch Stephen Light come off of turn 4 to the green. And your warm-up lap, when you're only really going to get the one lap that counts, has got to be right.
Yeah, you might not have to hustle down the back straightaway into 3, even though you kind of want to get things warmed up. But you better be on it. Once you exit turn 3, going over to 4, that's where you really have to carry some speed.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching this track. You see the sun on this end. Definitely going to affect the grip, and that's what Biffle said. You can't control that as a team or a driver, but boy, you sure do track it. I'll tell you, you watch that thing, and you hope that you get that cloud.
A little bit of housekeeping here. The order of qualifying was determined by the inverse of speeds from the first practice session today that happened at 8:30 Eastern time this morning. Stephen Light, one of 3 drivers entered who have never run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, looking to make his first start in this race. And there are more drivers here than there are spots in the field. The top 35 in owner points coming in are guaranteed a spot in the race. That leaves 11 teams to compete for 8 spots in the field. Stephen, one of those that must make the race on time.
He definitely picks it up from his fastest lap. So yeah, I think they benefited probably from the Nationwide Series qualifying just ending. So the cars that have been on the track, it's not like it's been sitting here heating up. It's only been about 10 minutes. He's going to just take the one lap. I think that's what we'll see the majority of these teams do, taping off as much as they can to get that aero advantage that they can get by taping more off. But obviously it'll heat up too much. You're trying to make 5 miles. Actually a little more than that by the warm-up lap.
Take that second lap. You know the first lap really didn't go well. So Stephen Light at 177.347 mile-an-hour average speed is the first driver to be in and done. Now, it's only been 90 minutes since Sprint Cup Series final practice wrapped up, 100 minutes, actually, since the practice wrapped up. And so a lot of these teams have really had to jam on swapping their cars over to qualifying trim, getting them through NASCAR technical inspection, and out here to the qualifying line. You can see a couple of holes in the line there. Those are cars that haven't made their way through tech yet and gotten out onto the qualifying grid. Mike Massaro is on pit road for us as well. Mike?
And Joey Logano posting one of the fastest speeds in final practice. Obviously, the car felt pretty good to you in that final practice. What do you expect you have here for qualifying?
We'll see. You guys did a good job adjusting our car from the first practice to the second practice, so we're going out so early. And I think our Dollar General car is pretty good in qualifying trim. I feel like we need a little bit of work in race trim. So we'll see what happens. We're, like I said, we're making progress on it. So as long as we keep doing that, we'll be there by the time the race starts.
We've heard so many times that if you're good in Pocono, You're usually pretty good here in Indianapolis. You went to Victory Lane in Pocono earlier in the year. How much confidence does that give you this weekend?
It helps. Anytime you go win a race and then going to a racetrack that's similar to the one you won at, it gives you a little extra confidence. But we'll see. Like I said, we had to work hard on it today. It didn't come easy, so we're going to get there. We'll be just fine.
Joey Logano. Alan?
Just finished qualifying 6th for this afternoon's NASCAR Nationwide Series inaugural event here at the Brickyard. Green flag for Reed Sorensen. Again, one of the drivers that must make this field on his time.
Well, he sure knows how to do it. You can see him straight down the right side of the car. Reed has been on the pole here before. Got his first pole of his career here.
It's 2007. He sat on the pole here driving for Chip Ganassi at that time.
Yeah, those scrapes down the side happen in practice.
Yep.
You see that quite often here, Dale. I know you
see it right there.
Yep. And they put a small, maybe a slight mark on it.
It's
just you try to get everything you can off of these corners. You actually need about another 5 feet there, don't you?
You really, really do. It would be very, very helpful, especially with these stock cars where you just don't have that banking. There's only 9 degrees of banking. And I think that's up there against the wall in these corners where you don't want to be.
That's about where Reed Sorensen was, though. He was all the way up there.
You can see that.
I don't know if he touched it. Well, if he did, it was barely, wasn't it?
But it still cost him time, and that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I'll give that to you, Eddie. I don't think he touched it, but he sure came close. And again, for a driver who has to make the race on time, that one lap with all its pressure, we'll have to wait and see how it turns out. 81 degrees right now here at the Brickyard. The crowded grid on the right, the fast front straightaway on the left of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying continues to set the starting field for tomorrow's 400-mile race. Travis Kvapil, latest driver to finish his run, the Wisconsin native, 3rd quickest overall at 178.5 miles an hour. 3rd out of 10 that have gone so far. David Stremme still atop the leaderboard. There's a little cloud cover over the speedway a little bit ago. You see that end of the racetrack, turns 3 and 4 with a little bit of overcast over it. This front stretch that was in the shade a bit ago is now in the bright sunshine.
Check the tracker out. He's got a great lap going.
Aric Almirola.
It's his first attempt here at Indy. He set on the pole at Charlotte earlier in the year.
New leader.
It's a great lap.
Bumped that 2.5 miles an hour.
Yeah,
from David Stremme's speed. 181.6 miles an hour. Aric Almirola now on top. Stremme 2nd. Bobby Labonte in 3rd, Vince.
Guy knows his way around this place for sure. Bobby Labonte, a former winner here at Indianapolis. You've run all the Brickyard 400 races. Is it different this year?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know how to answer that. But, I mean, you know, our Scott's Toyota, it was a brand new race car that we brought here. Obviously, David Hyder, our crew chief this weekend, doing a great job. Our team's really doing a great job. You know, we just, you know, obviously bringing a car to the racetrack and never had, you know, any documentation on it. Wish we could have had, you know, some of that. But, you know, I think for the next couple of weeks, we'll probably have to live with it, a little bit of that. And then hopefully we'll get some, get the right simulation that we need or simulation that we do need. And we'll get it better. But guys have done a good job at the shop. We had a weekend off to get ready for the next few weeks, obviously. So a lot of hard work and patience put in by a lot of people.
And a good guy behind the wheel, Bobby Labonte, working with the interim crew chief, David Hyder, this week.
And now watching Joey Logano on his flying lap.
Now, Logano put up his time that we had talked about being fast in that 2nd of the 2 practice sessions. Was going along pretty good. Looked like he got a little bit wide out of turn 2 there, and that's going to cost him some time.
I don't know if it was an optical illusion or not, but that car kind of had that stepping look.
I think he got wide because he had to dance with it out there.
He's got a good corner going now, though. He's going to have to run faster than he has all day. He's got to pick up from practice if he's going to beat Almirola's time.
Tail happy right there.
Hanging on to try to do that.
And he did. There's your new leader. 181.756 miles an hour, the number 20 to the top of the scoring pylon here at Indianapolis. This big 2.5-mile racetrack with not a whole lot of banking in the corners. Pocono Raceway, 2.5-mile track, not a lot of banking in the corners. Logano in that 20, out wrestling Mark Martin in a late duel to score a big win back in the month of June. Sam Hornish Jr. takes the green flag in the Penske 22 Dodge. A.J. Allmendinger was the driver of this car until a few weeks ago when he was notified just before the NASCAR race at Daytona Beach that he had failed one of NASCAR's random drug tests. He requested that the B sample of his test per the procedures of the program be tested. That test was done this past week. That sample also tested positive for a substance that NASCAR will not identify. Allmendinger's business manager said was amphetamines. Any event, end result is AJ, indefinitely suspended by NASCAR, has already applied for the Road to Recovery program, which is basically the process through which you prove yourself and get back cleared to race. Meantime, it creates an opportunity for Sam Hornish Jr. to get back into a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series machine. Roger Penske confirming Sam will drive obviously here and again next week at Pocono. Sam committed to run for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship, so they haven't really said much beyond Pocono because the two series tend to go their different ways a couple of times over the course of the summer. Sixth fastest there for Sam.
Yeah, so far, a little bit, it's actually slowed down a little bit from practice. We've seen some of the faster cars have picked up from practice.
Yeah, we've seen a few pick up, but I think right now we probably have about as much temperature on the racetrack as what we've seen all day.
We just worked on the car, and, I didn't really know the track was going to do it.
So Sam Hornish in at 179.9 miles an hour, the former Indy winner. A few spots shy of Joey Logano, who still has that number 20 atop the famed scoring pylon here at Indianapolis. Still have 29 cars left to make a run, and just a couple of more who must make the race on time. Here's one of them, Michael McDowell. Out on the track in the 98 car, Reed Sorensen is on the bubble as McDowell takes his shot at a spot in the field for Sunday's race. That crucial run off turn 4 on the get up and go lap, and now the green flag for McDowell.
Hey, McDowell does a good job when it comes to qualifying. He's had to make all these races on speed. He's made 17 starts and only one DNQ at Darlington. That's pretty impressive, really. Woo. Man, he got it all there. Or used it all up.
And there's times that you go back out on this racetrack, especially as a situation like this where it's much hotter and slicker than what you had. You think that they've narrowed the exit of these corners up quite a bit.
Hate it when that wall moves in at you.
Yes. He's going to be solidly in the race, though.
Yep. Tracking 12th quickest overall. And that's what it'll be. Sorensen is bumped. McDowell locked in to Sunday's race. For a driver, when you feel that lap and you know you're okay and you're in that situation, you just got to make it on time, and you get that call over the radio. That's got to be some incredible feeling of relief.
Oh, it really is. Yeah, it's an opportunity to really breathe again is what it is, because you've almost just been holding your breath throughout this entire lap, just thinking about what you're doing, and the pressure is just enormous. We talk about how big this race is and trying to win. It's enormous there and just trying to make this race. And you talked about how much it pays. That's huge for a lot of these teams, just like that.
They're kind of holding their breath. They've been holding their breath out on the grid, too, waiting to get in the car.
Kevin Harvick going to make his qualifying attempt. We listened to him some today during practice. He was not very happy with this number 29 Chevrolet.
Well, there was times he was, sometimes he wasn't, but for the most part, he wasn't happy. We'll see if he's happy after this run.
About 173 miles an hour or so, carrying off of turn 4 as Harvick comes to the green. Former pole sitter for this race, won the race the year he started on the pole.
Not going to start on the pole this year. Didn't have a good lap at all going. So he lost time even getting into turn 1. Usually you see the problems begin after that, but he actually lost time getting to the corner.
I saw his teammate Jeff Burton had a pretty good lap, looked like coming to the green and getting down to turn 1, but I don't know if he had to get out a little bit early, if these cars are a little bit free getting in the corner, but they're not being able to attack as some of the others. See a little wide right there, too. That's going to cost more time.
And we're comparing these laps to the pole sitter, which is Joey Logano.
That's 8th out of 25 for Kevin Harvick. Could have been a lot worse.
He could have, but it's still not good. I think he's still going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah. So Kevin Harvick's son in the 8th spot for now. Sam Hordish sits in 6th for the moment. Now you try and say that,
You
Vince.
do that again, Alan.
And he's chatting with the crew chief, Todd Gordon, about it. Well, it's a busy week for you, the Nationwide, the Cup, all the circumstances surrounding the run, but I know most importantly, you're focused on the race car. How was it during that qualifying run?
Still haven't got comfortable yet. Just really, the car is sliding around a lot through the middle of the corners and just having a hard time getting a good set. But you know, talking to Brad, he feels his car's not quite there either. So he's been a little bit quicker than me so far today, and I'm just not sure if it's something that I'm doing, something that's not quite right with the car, but we're working on it, trying to figure out exactly where we need to be, and I thought we'd made some pretty good steps and decided to loosen it up just a little bit for qualifying was too much, but show up Pennzoil Dodge. You know, I know the guys, you know, do good pit stops and stuff like that. This is a track position race. Obviously, we're not going to qualify where we want to be at, but got to do the right things tomorrow.
Thanks, Sam. AB.
All right, Vince, Kyle Busch on the clock. Teammate of the current fast qualifier, Joey Logano, at Joe Gibbs Racing. No. Looked like that entrance into 3 was a little bit uncomfortable.
A little tentative.
Nudges ahead of his brother, Kurt. 3rd position on the board for Kyle Busch. That's a 49.71, Mike. Pole is a 49.51 now. Greg Biffle was fastest in practice. What's he think of the number?
Well, he was just staring at the sky, Alan, trying to see exactly when the cloud would come in. You think he'd be lucky enough and catch that break?
I think that's all it is right now at this point is luck. You know, we saw some cars earlier get some clouds and they went pretty fast. It makes so much here on grip to the racetrack. A little bit, you know, shade for a couple minutes, it'll increase the grip. But 3 and 4 Fusion cars pretty fast either way. I think we'll get us up in the top 5. So I'm hoping for it. Good luck. Thanks.
Greg Biffle, I think he said it all there, Alan. Regardless of whether he gets a cloud or not, he's going to be fast. He was fast in practice, and we'd expect nothing less.
Since qualifying started, a couple of degrees in air temperature.
Yeah, but you can see that track temp going up quite a bit. Looks like it'd have been a whole lot better to go early.
Yeah, we really thought that, you know, this session for a lot of years was run around 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. And there was a distinct advantage to being able to go early in that session when the track was cooler. We thought today might be different, but these clouds have sure kind of thrown a wrench into the situation. And as Biffle said, you're going to need just a little bit of luck. See what Hamlin's got a good lap going, though.
Got a green tracker.
And it's green from the start. That means he got a good run off of turn 4, and we talked about just how critical that is. See the sparks flying off the front splitter bracing there on the left front. That means he's got the attitude held down pretty good on the straightaway.
Yeah, Denny was not happy with this race car through a lot of that second practice session this morning, but they found something right towards the end in their race setup. Looks like it's transferring over to this qualifying setup, too.
Yeah, he's going to be happy with this lap.
Oh, look at that. It's still adding on to his advantage over second place.
Wow.
New leader, Denny Hamlin, by a bunch.
That's a good one.
Biffle thought that other lap was going to be something to have to get to. Wait till he sees that.
Chopped 0.3 of a second off of Joey Logano's time, up to 182.763 miles an hour. Denny Hamlin, top of the board. In spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it was. It. Little fireworks, little sparks coming off of that front splitter.
That's the only thing spectacular about it. You know, we looked at these other people sliding their cars around. Denny looked like he was on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon cruise.
We continue with NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Marcos Ambrose coming at you, headed back to the pit lane after running the 8th fastest lap of the session. 180.072 miles an hour for Marcos. On the track now, winner of this race a couple of years ago, Jamie McMurray. And while McMurray comes back around to set his time, Tony Stewart waits to go out and make his run, Mike.
And he's buckling in now, and perhaps no track has secured his legacy more than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Every win here is sweet for you. You think you got it in you this week?
If practice is any indication, it's not looking very good, but you know, the good thing is I got Steve Addington and all these guys in this Office Depot Mobile One team, and they'll keep working on this Chevy. We'll see what we got for qualifying here. We only did 2 runs real early this morning, and so I'm not sure what we're going to have here for qualifying, but it's looking like it's going to be a really long day tomorrow. But we got the good thing is we got all night after qualifying here to think about it, and I know one thing, Steve Addington will be up long after I go to sleep tonight. He'll still be working on it, so it's nice having a team that works that hard.
Good luck today.
Thanks, bud.
Tony Stewart is our in-race reporter this weekend. If you got a question for Smoke, go on ESPN.com. Key phrase, in-race reporter. Alan?
Mike, thanks. See Tony out on the track in just a little bit. As you see him buckling in, Clint Boyer is on the speedway now. Jamie McMurray 7th fastest on his lap.
Like Smoke just a second. That's kind of the same attitude he was taking into the chase last year before he won 5 of the 10 races. So
yeah,
we'll not put too much into what he's talking about there.
Checking out Clint Boyer's run-up speed. While Clint's on the clock, Kyle Busch looks on in 4th place for the moment, Vince.
A little bit frustrated with this run, although 4th certainly doesn't seem too bad with track position being so important here. Kyle, how do you evaluate where you qualify?
I mean, it's going to be about where you end up, not where you're at right now. So 4th, maybe 15th, who knows? But then he laid down a heck of a lap there. I thought a 70 would be okay compared to Joey's 50, but a 20 is going to be pretty far, going to push us pretty far back. So, you know, Eminem's Camry's been good since we unloaded. We definitely have some speed in race room, I feel like. So it's just a matter of trying to qualify up front, and this will probably be our best start here in a long time. But all in all, you know, we'll just take what we get today. Clouds mean a whole big difference, just track temperature and all that stuff. So with what we've got right now, we'll just plug away at it, keep working.
Best you can do. That's Kyle Busch. And then let's swing right over, because the man that did put the hot lap on the board, Denny Hamlin, we were talking about tire temperature or track temperature, and did you feel like the track changed before you went out, or did you just have that much in the car?
I think our car was good, but you know, the only disadvantage really we had is that the sun was out for at least on the front stretch. That's all what I can see for 3 straight cars in front of us, and so when you do that, it's more about just hitting your marks. You know the track's going to be slick. You got to prepare. You got to prepare for that, and it was. The track was as slick as what I thought. It just you know, made sure I hit my marks. That was the most important thing. But you know, overall, it was a great day for our FedEx Express Toyota. We feel like we've got a car that can race them.
Yeah, laid down a good one for him to shoot at too, AB.
Yeah, he did. Denny Hamlin, top of the board. Here is Greg Biffle. Talked to Biff a little while ago. He was watching the sky. It's funny because, yeah, this place is so big, there's not a cloud that's going to shade the whole speedway. So now, what parts of what are in the sun and in the shade, and how's it going to affect your car?
I just want this. I want the shade in the corners. Yeah, I can deal with it on the straightaway.
And I'll take it in just 1 or 2 of them if I can get that, you know, versus not getting any at all.
And right there, he had good shade all the way through turn 2. Still not up to the speed that Hamlin put up there, though.
But still going to be a really, really solid lap. I think this is probably going to be kind of in the area. Well, he keeps losing a little bit right there.
Didn't have any shade over in turn 3.
And certainly not in turn 4. Oh, flirting with the edge of that darkened pavement where the rubber's been worn into the racetrack.
They just lost all the grip in those Goodyears.
That's 4th fastest. And that tells you what kind of a number Denny Hamlin put up.
Yeah, that 20 is pretty strong in this condition.
That's a 57, 49.578. And that's still 0.3 of a second behind Denny Hamlin.
Which is right at what he ran back in practice, that second practice session. So you got to figure it's hotter now. You can back that up. That's pretty good. So it just shows what a lap Denny Hamlin, as you said, put down.
The line of cars waiting to go, make their qualifying run on this tough 2.5-mile track. Juan Pablo Montoya, so good in this race in recent years, but looking like he was struggling in practice earlier today. Looking like in the second practice.
Yes. It just looked like they were having a difficult time getting the speed out of the car that they were running, although he's got a pretty solid lap going here right now.
Yep.
He's just really so good at this track. I know he had a good car those couple of years, and he just does an excellent job.
Never qualified lower than 13th for this race in 5 tries. Started on the front row 3 times in 5 tries.
He get off of turn 4 very good right there. Cost him some time.
That'll be a 49.85, 6th quickest for Montoya, outside of row number 3 for now, but still a lot of cars left to run. Talk about the qualifying success Montoya's had. He's had success in the race as well, but not the finishes to show for it. A speeding penalty after leading more than half the race set him back in traffic, forced him to an 11th place finish in 2009. 2010, he led 86 laps. Again, more than half the race. Wound up crashing hard in the late laps and finished in 32nd place. The former winner of the Indianapolis 500. We'll see where they are in race trim on Sunday afternoon. Here is Tony Stewart. Now, you heard from Tony a little while ago. Not the most optimistic report on a race car that we've had from a driver.
They worked on this car in race trim the whole second practice. Just never really got it. You can see the concern on their face when they were in the garage. They didn't really get it anywhere near what they wanted. You can still see he's got a lot of confidence in Steve Addington to get it right. He's got some time after this qualifying session to work on it and get your hands on it. They'll come up with something. I'm sure they'll be good tomorrow.
Yeah, that was just kind of, it's all morning has been just kind of a thrash for these crew chiefs in particular, Andy, with early practice session, which went right in almost to the second practice session, then have them go straight to get it ready to qualify. So not a lot of time to digest maybe what you may and may not have.
Well, you don't even have time to think. You go back, you got to get the car through tech in an hour and a half. You don't even have time to think, much less work on the car. So they just get out here, do the best they can. They threw a lap down, and that's only 15th so far for Stewart at a 50.31.
Last year, Tony started 24th. Had an early penalty, hit the commitment cone, had to go back to 33rd, and came back to finish 6th. So it might be another one of those dig hard days for Tony Stewart here on Sunday. Ryan Newman waiting to go, Mike.
Yeah, and his teammate has just completed his lap. You saw Tony just put his numbers on the board. What are you expecting to do?
They say the track's hotter. Cars are going just about as quick, so it's all about just getting everything you can. Our Quicken Loans Chevrolet was pretty good. We were 10th in second practice, and it's time to prove what we have right now. We'll see what we can do.
You're an Indiana native. What's this place mean to you?
to me, it's special because of the history of the racetrack. It just happens to be in Indiana. Just the significance of all the great drivers in all forms of motorsport who have competed here. That, to me, is really why it's so special.
Ryan Newman. Alan?
Getting ready to go as he climbs aboard that Chevrolet. Well, the final bump is about to happen, or not, as Trevor Bayne in that Wood Brothers 21 takes the green flag. Mike Bliss is either going to be in the race or out after this lap by Trevor Bayne. I just love listening to these engines scream at the end of these straightaways here at Indy. They're so long.
The sound just echoes down these straightaways into the grandstand, and they just have a very unique sound.
Trevor tracking well ahead of Mike Bliss, who's in the 30th position.
Yeah, just make it through turn 4 here.
He's tracking ahead of a lot more than Mike Bliss.
Yeah.
That's a good lap.
Very solid. 10th fastest for Trevor Bayne. Mike Bliss is bumped from the field for Sunday's race. That's a nice lap. Trevor Bayne in 10th. Juan Pablo Montoya showing 6th right now, Vince.
He's had some highlights here. He's led the most laps. He's been on the pole here, but you just said, boy, it's been a tough year. Do you have the kind of piece here this weekend that can maybe jumpstart things?
I'll tell you, we had a better piece here than we had all year, but no, we're not there yet. We've been working with the team really hard. Target shape has been, it's been okay. This week we just seem to be able to balance the car. We're either really tight or really loose, and it's been like that every week. So, we're looking at it. We're making a lot of changes as a team, and we're going to get there. It's been a rough road.
We'll see if it smooths out a little bit tomorrow.
Vince, thanks. Carl Edwards on track now. In the news in the last couple of weeks as we see his get up to speed lap. Edwards and this team in the news because after the last race at New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, longtime crew chief Bob Osborne, with whom he's won 18 races, citing concerns about his health, stepped down as crew chief of this 99 car to another role within the Roush Fenway Racing organization. Chad Norris was appointed the new crew chief for Carl, and they worked together for the first time in a stretch of 7 races where they need to win to try and get into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Yeah, they're sitting there at 11th. They got quite a few points up to the 10th spot, but it was time for something to be done. Even though they tied, as you talked about, and we've documented many times with Tony Stewart, number of points at the end of last year, they have not won since Las Vegas of 2011.
And if they're going to get in the chase, they're going to have to win more than one. They're going to have to win at least 2 races.
He's got a great lap going here. Tracking second fastest as he comes to the stripe.
That should give him some confidence to get things started between this driver and crew chief combination. Nice lap.
181.984 miles an hour.
Real good job, guys.
It's so important to get off to a good start with this relationship. And I'm sure for Chad Norris, that's a big relief. He's like, yeah, that's the start we need. It's like getting off the first hole playing golf. You just want to try to get out there and not make a double bogey or do something bad. Start off with the birdie's not too bad.
There you go. Carl Edwards second to Denny Hamlin doing some interviews as he waits to see if he'll be on the pole for tomorrow's race. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, down to the final 9 cars in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying. Casey Mears coming back to the pit area, having just finished running the 17th fastest lap in his Ford, and flying past him was Matt Kenseth, who's about to go on the clocks for his lap. Matt Kenseth, current NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship leader, guy who's come very close in this race before. A couple of second place finishes. Whoa, look out.
Like Matt was trying to really keep it out there and arc it in. Sometimes that wall almost suck you into it.
Looks like the paint scuffed up over that right rear tire.
Sorry, Jeremy, I'm freaking idiot.
Yeah, he just got up against that wall. I mean, like you said, trying to get the angle. It's worth a lot if you can get, I mean, just a little bit of angle into the corner, but a lot of risk there too.
And still 7th fastest.
Saw Carl Edwards do it in practice. They just try to move that wall out there another inch.
Set. Wow.
It's kind of right where he's starting to get out of the throttle, and these cars will move just a little bit especially if you come all the way out of the throttle there.
So Matt Kenseth 7th, Denny Hamlin leading, Carl Edwards 2nd, Vince.
Maybe in the spirit of the Olympic season, we should ask Carl, what's the degree of difficulty of qualifying here at Indianapolis?
It looked pretty tough for Matt there. That was a great save. I hit the wall over going into turn 4. This track is so temperature sensitive right now. We got very fortunate. We had a couple clouds out there. I just can't say enough about Chad Norris and all the guys, everyone, from Bob to Chad to all the engineers, everyone getting together at Roush Fenway Racing and putting 100% effort into this 99 car. And, you know, for Fastenal and for everyone, I hope this holds up for a top 3 starting spot. That would be great.
Yeah, got to be a big confidence booster for Chad Norris, too, guys, to have a fast car in qualifying at Indianapolis.
Yes, like Andy said before, you don't want to double bogey on your first hole. Better off starting with a birdie.
Yeah, it gives you a whole lot of confidence in how this is going to work when you get started off good.
That turn 1 did not go so well for Dale Jr., according to the graph.
Right on over to turn 2 and then down the back straightaway. You can see the time that it cost him. He's made a nice recovery here, though, trying to get something out of it.
Now losing some ground. That'll be 15th fastest for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Remember when he made his practice qualifying run in the final practice? And we caught him coming on the radio and saying, well, that was a disaster.
Well, that wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't as good as he hoped for.
Yeah. So Keselowski, 18th, with 4 cars to go. Jimmy Johnson, 3-time winner of this race, one of them from pole position. And the green flag.
Like a little bit on the loose side, entered that corner. See, we don't have our telemetry with Jimmy, so we're kind of guess how much that might have helped him, but I think this car is a little bit too free for him to run the kind of lap he needs to.
He got everything in turn 2.
But didn't scratch the car. I was waiting to see the right side of the car.
It looked like he'd gotten against the wall. Looks clean, though.
Still saying that car was just way too free that entire lap. It all started down in entering turn 1 when it looked like the back end was out from under it.
That'll be 6th for Jimmy.
That was on sheer talent right there. That man drove that car to that speed.
I wonder how close he got to that wall, Alan.
I'll bet we can find out.
How about that close?
Oh, wow.
Another coat of paint, that'd have been a total loss.
Yeah. So Jimmy's 6th, leaving us now 3 cars to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is standing 17th, Vince.
Junior, we saw Jimmy almost get the wall. We saw Matt get into the wall. But what makes this place in a qualifying run here so difficult?
You're just trying to get on the pole, I guess. It's not that difficult. You just run on the edge. That's what qualifying's all about. We didn't have a good car in practice and qualifying trim, and it showed today. And the balance on the car was just way off. And we got a good race car, though. So you know, it's kind of better than I even thought we'd qualify, to be honest with you. But the race car is going to race good. And you know, for whatever reason, just put it in qualifying trim. We couldn't get any speed out of it.
Thanks, Junior. Finding the silver lining in it, AB.
Well, Vince, here's Jeff Gordon. About any statistical category you can name in NASCAR competition at this racetrack, you find the name Jeff Gordon at the top of the list. Most wins, most poles, top 5s, top 10s. Try to see what he's going to get for a starting spot in Sunday's race as he goes for a 5th Indianapolis win.
And he had a fast car here last year. Made a great run at Paul Menard at the end of the race. Cut a huge lead down to inside a second. Just ran out of time. Not going to be the lap he's looking for, although it's inside the top 10.
It was 12 seconds to 7/10 of a second.
What we got here? Let's see. Got 4 runs.
That charge he made. That's 9th for Jeff Gordon. And it looks like Jeff is indeed going to be one and done. Well, it was the first race for NASCAR here at this track where Jeff Gordon drove into victory lane for the first time. Went back again in 1998, 2001 for number 3, and 2004 for a 4th time. Jeff Gordon, 4 times a victor here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Of course, Jeff, born in California, moved to Pittsboro, Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis to begin racing because you could drive race cars under the age of 16 around here then, and his family moved here to allow Jeff to pursue a racing career. So they consider him a hometowner and a native son around here.
I have told y'all that Jeff and I started driving cars in the same year, right?
Yeah.
1977?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was 5 and I was 20, but we started at the same time.
2 drivers to go. Denny Hamlin on pole position. First Mark Martin, then Casey Kane to take a shot at it.
I don't know if he was loose getting into one, but he lost a good bit of time looking at our tracker right there.
Because he had good get up to speed, a good get up to speed lap, judging by the green at the start of the lap.
Certainly not the lap that Mark Martin, I don't believe, thought that he was going to be able to go out there and put down.
Well, that'll be disappointing. So Mark, 18th quickest, and we're down to just 1 car to go now. Casey Kane or Denny Hamlin going to be on the pole. Jimmy Johnson right now in 6th position, Vince.
Well, we saw Jimmy with his hands full. How would you describe that qualifying run?
That would be in the loose category. I'm much better with the loose race car than a tight car. So made it around to 4, and then off of 4, I had my biggest moment, and finally got to a certain spot on the corner of the exit where I'm like, the heck with it, just I got to go. And had a good slide off of there, but been very, very happy with my race car since we've unloaded. This Cobalt Tool Chevrolet is very fast, and I think we're going to have a really, really good day tomorrow.
He's shooting for number 4 here at Indianapolis, AB.
All right, Vince, so we're down to the last car. Denny Hamlin on pole position. Casey Kane, the last driver with a chance to take that spot away from him.
I hope it acts better than what I saw it down coming out of turn 3 to get up to go lap. Now, hopefully that was just something that maybe I just saw and not really what this car is like. We'll see.
A lot of sun on the track, though. We talked about that when Hamlin went, but he did have a little bit of shade, especially leading up to his lap. I think the track's just gotten so hot that it's going to be tough for anybody to make a run at it. Man, Casey's struggling through there.
Top left of the tracker, 13th, 14th, where Casey's lap is going to place him right now. And not get any better.
His lap in the first practice session was about 3/4 of a second faster than the pole is right now. That shows you just how much track temp makes in speed at this track. It's really, really ridiculous how much that makes a difference.
That'll be 15th for Casey Kane. And the qualifying is done here in Indianapolis. And Denny Hamlin is going to start on pole position for Sunday's 400-mile race, his first pole at Indianapolis in his 7th try at this racetrack.